very happy to be live with Abigail Osbourne, who's going to start us off an introduction to herself and her books, including your latest one.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name's Abigail Osbourne. I write psychological thrillers. I've just published my third one. The first one was called The Puppet Master, and it's a tale about manipulation. The second one is about it's called Savor and is about the darker side of friendship. And then this next one is called The Good Husband, and it's about somebody who's lost their wife in tragic circumstances and doesn't cope with it very well, shall we say. Yeah, so that's me and my writing.
That seems like a bit of an understatement, doesn't cope with it very well.
Yes, just a little bit.
Where do you get your inspiration from? I know it's like a really
Hmm.
boring kind of author chat question to start with, but you just seem so like smiley and happy and nice. And then the only book I've read of yours so far has been the most recent, and it's so dark.
Yeah, this one is quite dark. Um, I don't know. So a lot of the thing that I look at things that I'm interested in that I've been through. So like with Save Her, I had a friendship at university. I'd come to university in 4 hours away from home, made friends with this girl, and it was very intense. We kind of depended on each other, and our worlds kind of revolved around each other. And then we fell out, and I had nobody. And so that kind of experience has always stayed with me. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to write about next for my second one, I wanted to kind of explore that intensity of friendship that I'd been through. So it tends to be things in my life that I'm like emotional things normally that I look at. So with this one, the Good Husband, it was about greed and how money and greed. I'm very interested in that kind of wealth divide and things like that, and how greed can be quite dangerous, and how it's quite we're indoctrinated a little bit to be always wanting the latest thing, like adverts and things like that. So that was the kind of the spark for that one. So yeah, it tends to be just things I'm quite passionate about, and then the characters and stories just come from there, and then they just kind of go where they go. So it just, I think, because the things I'm looking at, they kind of naturally fit in that genre to explore the intensity or the darker side of things. It just fits in that genre.
University relationships can be very intense, can't they?
Yeah, definitely.
And they can be good or bad. Um,
Yeah, I've got after that was a good thing that actually happened to me that we fell out, because it forced me to make friends with other people, and now I've got like 3 or 4 friends that I met at uni that are still my friends. So it was good that that happened to me, but it was that I was really interested to kind of explore that intensity and yeah, of it in the second one.
So, what kind of research do you have to do for your novels? 'Cause there's no police procedures, really.
No, I do admit I do tend to try and stay away from that as much as possible, because I don't know. But I've got the next one I'm writing. I am going to have to do a lot more research because I can't avoid it if I want to tell the story how I want to tell it. So I am going to be forced to have to do research into that. For the first one, it was my first foray into writing, and I wasn't writing it with the intention for it to be seen. It was just writing for the excitement of writing, because I was very bored in the job that I was doing. And so I was very lazy and just I think I had 4 characters and one was a cat. And it was set in 2 places I'd lived, Worcester and the Lake District. So I didn't really have to do much research because I knew those areas intimately. In the second one, I wanted to push myself, so I set it in Manchester, which I've never lived. So I went up for the day, and one of my friends took me around to the like rich side of Manchester, the poor side of Manchester, and I kind of just explored that. And I also use estate agents. Somebody gave me that as a top tip, to go on the estate agents, and you can see inside houses that way, and get some ideas that way. So I do that as well for like houses and things like that. For The Good Husband, there's a religious element in the book, so I did a lot of research because it was important to me. Because in the book, the Jack reconnects with his father, who is a extremely religious man, but has extremist views on religion, and he reconnects with him in because he's got nowhere else to go. but it was really important to me to balance the viewpoints that I was showing. I didn't want to just be capitalizing on extremist views in religion. I wanted to show a balanced portrayal of religion, and so I did a lot of research into that so that I could try and show both sides of the kind of viewpoints, if that makes sense, and balance it out a bit.
It reminded me in a good way. Have you read Abby Davis?
I don't think I have. No.
So Abby Davis has two books. There's Mother Loves Me, which is my favourite one of hers, and then there's a book called The Cult that she wrote.
Oh right, yeah.
And
I
that's
think
about kind of like a psychological thriller, sort of
yeah,
set in quite an extreme, sort of a very enclosed religious community.
yeah,
It just kept putting me
yeah,
in mind. Like the stories are very different, but I think the way they were written
yeah.
to me felt very similar. And that is a compliment, by the way, because Abby Davis wrote amazing stories. So
Just being the name.
maybe.
Yeah, I wish I'd published under Abby, but my mum was insistent I had to put Abigail on the book because she chose that name for me. So
Mums are like that, aren't they? So I've been a Kaz since I was little. I wouldn't answer to my full name.
yeah.
I hated it.
Mm.
And my mum still gets really grumpy that I put Kaz on things.
Yeah, I'm getting used to it now. I'm being an author. Everybody just calls me it. But I used to get really annoyed because I only ever got called it when I was in trouble. So my back would I get my back up anytime somebody called it me because I thought I was in trouble. But now with this, I'm getting a bit more used to it now. Slightly liking it a little bit, but don't tell my mum. I won't admit it.
It's funny, isn't it? Mums everywhere are doing that, like, "I gave you that name"
Mm, definitely.
conversation. So you never been tempted to write under a pen name or anything else? You were just always gonna be
I think, well, I didn't really have a choice with the first one because, like I said, my mom was like adamant that is what you're going to do. But I would like to change genre, because, like you've said, I am quite happy and bubbly. I am nothing like my writing really. So I would actually like to change genre at some point to a comedy because when I do my edits, I get the funny bits taken out. They're like, you're trying to build tension here. Stop telling jokes and making things funny. So I do think that that would be a natural fit for me. I hope so in the future, and I think I would do that under a pen name.
would you still keep an element of crime? Would it be like a comedy crime, or would you just go full comedy?
No, I think I'd quite like to do something like an uplift book, like like Eleanor Oliphant and that A Man Called Ove, just something that makes you feel really good and is funny. I don't really want the romance side of things, so I think I'd just like to do something really like yeah, just funny.
So when you're, like, going back to that, what you were saying, so you'd like to write comedy, you
Mhm.
kind of come across really happy and bubbly. What drew you into writing the crime to begin with? Why didn't you start with comedy?
Because I didn't actually intend to be a writer at all. I was in a job where they kind of forgot about me. They were paying me a salary, but they weren't giving me any work. And I was just going absolutely nuts. And I read a lot of psychological thrillers and I was doing book reviewing. And the author, Caroline Mitchell, contacted me and was like, have you thought about writing? Because your blog review you've just done is really, really so well written. So I thought about it. And so I just thought about some of the things that I'd been through in my life and started jotting down memories, and it kind of went from there, and it just naturally developed into that genre. And it's probably because I read a lot in that genre. I don't actually read that many comedy books, so I think that's why I just naturally went that way because that's what I like to read.
So what was the job that you were doing? Mm.
So I'm still in that area, but I was teaching. So when students go to university, if they have a disability, they can go for an assessment of what like software they might need to help them. So if you've got like dyslexia or a visual impairment, there's software that can help you study and put you on a level playing field. So I was teaching the students how to use the software. So I would go to students' houses and halls and do one-to-one teaching with them. But at that point, my boss moved offices and just I wasn't getting much work, but I was luckily on a salary, but I just you think you'd love not to work, but then when all your friends are working and your husband's working and you're in the house on your own staring at four walls with nothing to do, it is really not a nice position to be in. And I was like, I want to do something with my life. And so I kind of just stumbled into doing this.
And so you do you still kind of work now?
Yeah, so when I wrote The Puppet Master, I published it, and then I got headhunted on LinkedIn to become an assessor, so the person that actually assesses the student to get the software. So I kind of went into that area, and then I set up my own business doing that. So I now help students, but I also go into the workplace and help people with visual impairments, hearing impairments, autism, and things in the workplace as well. So I set up and I run my own business doing that now. And so that's why there was a big gap between The Puppet Master and Save Her, because I kind of was focusing on that, not thinking writing would. I would not thinking, even though the reviews for The Puppet Master were good, I'd still at that point didn't believe that I was good enough to be doing it like properly.
We probably weirdly work in quite similar fields because I work with people with autism.
Oh, right, yeah. I do a lot of assessments I'm doing a lot of adult autism assessments at the moment. It's becoming a lot more acknowledged and a lot more diagnosed now, which is really good to see. So I do a lot of workplace autism assessments at the moment, which is good. And I'm obviously helping students at uni as well.
Yeah, my school actually does supported workplace
Oh,
placements for people.
oh, that's so, yeah.
It's really good. We got a couple of hellos.
Oh.
One says a Facebook user, so I'm guessing Leslie. And Aga says hello as well. Now, I know you published with Bloodhound. One of the things our members ask a lot is if your books are available in audio or in libraries.
Yeah, so my books are in my I don't know about, they're in my local libraries because I've been in and donated them. But I don't know about any others unless somebody, I think you can request them. I'm not entirely sure how it works. You can buy my book on paperback and ebook, and my publisher's currently dealing with the audiobook side of things, so I haven't got an update on that yet, but hopefully in the future.
When they do, would you want to be in charge involved in picking like the person who did the reading?
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that would be quite exciting as long as it's not me. I don't want to do it. But yeah, no, it would be. I think that could be quite interesting. Yeah, I think it'd be so nice to hear it come to life. So it is something I'm hopeful for the future, definitely. And I work with people with visual impairments as well, so they're often asking me, and I'm like, oh, soon. They're sorting it out. I don't really know how that works. So yeah, just waiting. Hi, Donna.
Yeah, Donna's watching, which is nice. So last time we all saw each other was at Harrogate. Was that your first time there, or?
No, it was I think I've been 3 or 4 times now, because that's how I actually got my publishing contract at Harrogate. I met my publisher at Harrogate, and they actually signed me while I was there. So, it's got a special place in my heart as Harrogate for that reason. So yeah, no, that was something. It's the first time I've been for a while, because I'm classed as clinically vulnerable, so I've not actually left the house for the last 3 years. So it's the first place I've been outside my house for a very long time. So it was so nice to see so many people again and meet new people as well.
And hopefully managing to avoid COVID.
Yes, yes, I have so far, but because I'm clinically vulnerable, I think I'm on my fourth or fifth jab, so I'm wondering whether it's like a repellent or something. Because I saw quite a few people got it actually, but I seem to have been okay.
I had it a few weeks beforehand, so hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to live. It's something we're going to have to live with, isn't it? So you can't keep your life on hold forever. That's what I kind of think at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's a sound
Mm,
kind of thing. And I mean, I was really lucky when I got it. I was like a super mild case, so I
yeah, that's good. Brilliant.
was mostly just annoyed that I was like stuck at home and had things to do.
Yeah, it isn't fun. Yeah, it isn't. When I was in lockdown, I couldn't even go do the shopping, and my husband was useless because he's never done grocery shopping in 10 years of being together. So he was just at a loss what to do, and just came back with the most random stuff because he was panic buying, because he was like, "Oh, I went past that aisle and I couldn't find that aisle." And then he'd buy both sides of the list because I wrote on the back of the old list, and he bought both sides of the list, even though he'd already done one on the week before. So it was just a nightmare. So I have like 15 tins of chickpeas if you're interested still.
I think men are like that once you get married to them, aren't they? Mine hasn't bought clothes in years.
No,
People ask him like where he gets t-shirts and stuff from, and he's like, I don't know, ask her.
they just appear in my drawer. There's a
Yeah,
magic
it's just magic.
just watch.
Clothes fairy.
It's an amazing drawer. I'd love to have a drawer like that.
Yeah. Tony Millington says hello. Another one of our Harrogate kind
Oh,
of people
perfect.
who was
Yeah,
there.
yes. Yeah, it's so much fun. I did enjoy it. It was really good. I still haven't been to Betty's though. I must have been to Harrogate. I went to my honeymoon to Harrogate, and I still have not been to Betty's. I'm just talking too much to all the people. Did you go? No. Oh, I feel better then.
I think that's the thing about sort of living in Yorkshire
Well,
when
yeah, it's on your doorstep,
you
isn't it?
don't really. I've genuinely lived in Yorkshire for years. I can't think. I think I might have been in Betty's once
Yeah, I don't
the
think
entire time.
I walk past it and go, "Oh, I must go in there," and then get distracted by something else. So, maybe next year. Are you gonna go next year?
Probably. I mean, it's really close to where I live, so I don't really have an excuse.
No, you don't. No, I shall see you there.
You will. What kind of psychological thrillers do you like to read then?
I like to read ones where you like John Mars is one of my favourites, and he does quite futuristic ones. And I think I really enjoy that. Think something that's different and that makes you think. Um, I do like the darker ones. I'm quite happy to read things like that. Um, so yeah, nice and twisty and fast paced. I love to race through it. So yeah, I'm open to reading most of the genre, to be honest. Um, I think don't tend to read ones with kids in them because I have no children, so I feel like I can't really relate to like missing children and things like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Mm.
I'm a very kind of cozy crime kind of girl.
Yeah, yeah. I had to ask my friend how old needed to be to have their first McDonald's because I know nothing about children. So that was more research I had to do. I don't know what stage they are actually eating real food, and I was panicking, like, am I choking this child and I'm gonna get loads of criticism because they're not old enough for McDonald's yet? Like, really panicked me. So yeah, I don't not very good with children and reading books where they've gone missing and stuff. I'm like, oh, it's not as powerful impact on me.
That was my brother's idea of feeding the children when his kids were little. They take them to McDonald's.
Oh, sounds amazing. My Auntie Gillian was really healthy, and she would take us to McDonald's, and she would make me and my sister share a Happy Meal. It was the worst thing in the world because we just didn't get enough. It was so sad. I'd rather have not had one than only get like one chicken nugget.
But yeah, sad times.
It is hard life I've had.
Tell us a bit about the main characters in The Good Husband.
Okay, so there's Jack and Elsie. At the beginning of the book, obviously Elsie has died, but you do get to know about her through Jack, and they've been married for 37 years, and they've had a really happy marriage. Very like one of those real. I really love those people you see, and like when you see the elderly couple sat on a bench by the river, and you just know they've been together for years. I love that sort of relationship. So and that's what I got married young, so I'm hoping that's going to happen. My husband doesn't get a choice. He could try and leave me, but it won't work. I'll just handcuff myself to him. I'm going to have that relationship where we're together when we're older because I just love that. So that's what the type of like marriage that they've had, which is why her passing just he can't cope because she was everything. And then you've got his father who is really extremist religion and has kind of twists the very archaic in terms of like what the roles of the wife is, the son is, the dad, and what people should do. Very black and white, but also twists a lot of the Bible to suit what he believes as well. And when I was doing my research on the book as well, for everything, I was like, for everything I needed to say, there was a quote from the Bible that suited it. So I could justify anything with a quote. So you can twist it and interpret things certain ways, and that's what he does. He twists things to suit what he believes. And yeah, he genuinely has these warped views on religion, and so they're kind of the three main characters in the book really the main ones.
I quite like that it sort of it left you thinking about kind of big questions about whether people are kind of like naturally good or evil.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
they can be kind of persuaded either way by the influences on them, which I thought
Yeah.
was quite interesting.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. It was I and that's was important to me. I didn't want the reader to just I didn't wanna write somebody who was just evil and just crazy. I wanted you to see the logic, well, his logic and his struggle and his need for a reason that she's died, and that's why he's so open to his father's crazy views, because he wants a reason that she's died. He wants a distraction from his grief.
And I think there is a thing sort of when you reach extreme emotions of wanting to find a distraction. Did feel very real, not
Yeah.
believable.
Yeah, it was quite hard to write. I did have to go and give my husband a lot of hugs and cuddles.
I was gonna ask you that. How do you deal with it when you get to like a really emotional
Yeah,
story? How do
yeah.
you kind of walk away and leave it?
I found with this writing this book, the scenes between Jack and Elsie were really hard to write. Some of the darker, more violent scenes, you see, I feel like we're all a bit desensitized to things like that to a certain extent. You see it on the telly all the time. So those scenes were okay. But the scenes with where he loses his wife and stuff, that was really hard hitting, because I did have to get into that mindset, like how would I feel if I lost Jamie? And it was hard, and to kind of separate that. But look, just lots of hugs and grateful gratitude really leaves you sense, just kind of reminding myself I'm not in that position. I'm very lucky. So yeah, but it was hard to get into that mindset. It was a bit.
How do you go about what's your planning process like for your book?
Oh, I have no planning process. I did try and plot a book once, and then I was like, "Oh, I don't want to write it now because I know what happens." So I think for me, the magic of of writing and why I love it is that it's like when I play the piano, I don't know what notes come in next. I do it from muscle memory, and it's like that sort of flow from me when I'm writing. I like not knowing what word I'm typing next. It's like my subconscious takes over, and I love like that process. And if I planned it, then I don't think I would enjoy it as much. So I just like, and what I do is I use Scrivener, which is a piece of software that allows you to write in scenes, and you've got tabs down the side. So whereas in Word, it's harder to separate scenes out. You tend to try and write well, I do tended to try and write chronologically whenever I tried to write in Word. But what I found works best for me is to, depending on how I'm feeling that day, what scene I fancy writing, and just see where it takes me. And then once I've got quite a lot of scenes together, then I try and bring them together and move them around and then add things in. So that first draft is just complete pure like stream of consciousness, and then I try and figure out something from it, some order, semblance of order. So I just have that idea of that theme that I want to look at, that idea, and then it just grows from there.
So how long does it take you from that kind of stream of consciousness ideas to sort of a more finished product?
That stream of consciousness doesn't actually, once I, because I struggle a little. I get that first burst and I get to about 10,000 words, and then I kind of struggle a little bit. I flounder and I'm like, where is this going? What am I doing? And then it'll fall into place. I'll write something that will make it fall into place. And then it just, the last half of the book, I just do really, really quickly. And then obviously it's the editing process from there. So it tends to take me quite a lot of time to get started and really into it. And then, but once I know exactly, like once it starts coming faster, if that makes sense, it's really hard to explain. But yeah, so I would probably say about, I don't know, 6 months maybe for me to get to a point where it's finished and ready to be read through.
So you said you got into writing from initially sort of doing your own book blog. How long were you doing that for?
I did that for quite a while. I think I did that for a good because I was on like people like SE Line's first book, Valentina. I did hers and BA Paris Behind Closed Doors. So it was a long time ago, but I did it for about a year. And my blog was called Many Books, Many Lives. and I really enjoyed it. It was really good. I really enjoyed that side of it. So, but never with a view that I would be on the other end of it ever. So yeah, it was nice. I did enjoy it though.
You ever tempted to pop back and do the odd kind of review?
It's just time because I've got trying to run my business, and it's that's why I took so long to write why I took so long to write Save Her, because my business was dominating my entire life, and I write like 5,000 to 6,000 word reports per student. So last thing I wanted to do was write when I got home. So it's only now that I've got a good work-life balance. I just don't know if I would have the time. I don't read I used to read 100 books a year before I started writing, and now I'm lucky if I can get to 20. It's very hard. So I just don't think I would have the time yet. Not until I think once I can reduce my business enough to focus purely on writing, then I'm hoping I'll have more time to read, and then I will probably do that.
So what have you read this year that you've really enjoyed? What have been your standout?
Oh, I read that the new Gillian McAllister, Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I thought that was amazing. So good. Very unique. That's what I like in a book. I like it when it feels unique. So I've read that and I really enjoyed that. I'm trying to think what else I've read. I like I said, I haven't really read that much at the moment. I've listened to a lot of audiobooks because then when I walk the dog, I can listen to those. So I've been listening to audiobooks. I'm currently listening to a James Osbourne audiobook. Um, so I'm enjoying that. I have no idea what's going on though. I was just really in love with the Scottish accent, so it's really nice listening. I've also read Outlander, which I thought was really good. I watched a TV show and I didn't like it, but I thought the book might be different, and God, it was. I wish I'd just read that. That was so good. That took me 25 hours on Audible though to get through that, but that was good as well. That was something different.
It's a very thick book.
It is, yeah. I'm quite glad I did it on Audible, to be fair, rather than holding it. I think I got wrist ache from holding it, I would imagine. It's yeah, it's very thick, but it was good. I really enjoyed it. I've got the second one, and I'm got about 32 hours left of that one. But I will persevere. I will do it.
Have you read Witness X?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't really read that much at all this year, to be fair. Is that one that you've read is that you enjoyed?
It is, yeah. When it came out, so Sarah Moorhead.
She's so lovely. I met her at Harrogate. She's
Yeah,
so lovely.
she's amazing. And Witness X, if you like really unique books,
Mm.
would probably really take.
Yeah, I will have a look at that, definitely. Yeah, I will give that a try. Is
It's
it
like
is
my
it
top
a
book
psychological
of the year.
or
Pardon?
is it a crime or thriller or
It's kind of crime, but set in a sort of a near future.
ooh, I love things like that. That sounds really
Yeah,
good.
I'm thinking from what you were saying you really liked, I think
Mm.
it would be very up your street.
Yeah, because the John Mars ones that I've read was like driverless cars and things like that, which I thought was really interesting to kind of picture that, and when not actually that far away from it. My car brakes for me all the time, it freaks me out.
Yeah, look, see, lots of people are agreeing with me. It's a
Yeah,
brilliant book.
I will. It is on the list. It will be one a book I read, definitely.
It was my read of the year
Oh,
last
yeah.
year.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Oh, I miss
Um,
doing things like that. I used to do that with my blog and reading 100 books. Oh, it was so good. I do miss those days a little bit.
yeah, we do like a top 10 of the year video.
Oh, amazing.
So like me, Sam, and Alex tend
Yeah.
to get together.
Yeah.
We'll all do our top tens. And what is really interesting is we never match.
No, no, that's what's so good about reading. Some people can love things, some people can hate things. It really good you get good debate and stuff, and it's good that everybody likes different things.
Yeah, and you get a good I think it's interesting because I'll go and there are definitely sort of readers in the group who I know that if they like something, I'll probably like it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Mm,
if they put out like a good Leslie Lloyd is a good one. We
yeah,
seem to agree quite a lot.
yeah,
If Leslie says something's good, I'd probably pay attention.
yeah. That's good. Yeah, it's nice to have friends like that. I don't know if that a lot of I've made loads of book friends, which is really good, but the friends that I made from uni, not many of them read. So so it's good to have like friends that you can bounce. Oh, you should read this, you should read that. Off definitely.
What did you do at uni?
I did English and history, because I lived up in the Lake District and not many, I didn't really get very much guidance. So I got to uni and I did those at A level, those subjects. So I thought that's what I had to do at uni because that's the subjects I did at A level. And then I got there and people were doing like digital film production and things like that. And I was like, that's so cool. How can you do that? And I didn't realize I could have done different things. So I definitely would never have done that because I just did those subjects because I thought I had to. I would have definitely chosen something different. Now with hindsight, I would have chosen creative writing, and I did do a couple of modules as part of my English for that. But yeah, so I would definitely have done something different if I could. But it was good there. Everything happens for a reason because I met my husband at uni, so it was, and that's the reason I went there. He's according to him was to meet him.
I went mine at uni, and but I genuinely think that most people I've met, the rare person who would go back and do my degree again. I've
Oh,
never met anybody else who would
yeah,
still study the same thing,
yeah,
having
yeah.
finished.
Hindsight is a beautiful thing.
Like, if I could keep the degree I have and go back and study other things, there are other things I'd like to study, but I'd still, if I had
Yeah,
to start again, still choose my one I did.
yeah. I do a lot of assessments for students, and they're all doing really amazing degrees. There's like degrees in hacking and all sorts of things now. It's really expanding what the sorts of things you can study. And I think I'd do something maybe like forensic psychology or something like that, or criminology or something like that.
Donna's saying she absolutely would not.
Yeah.
And that's in reference to her degree.
Yeah. Oh, bless her. Yeah. I
Oh,
would.
she's only just finished as well.
She has, hasn't she? Yeah, she did say, didn't she?
I think fairly recently.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, amazing.
It's been a while for me. Um, I think quite a while.
I know. I get in students and their like date of births are in the 2000s, and I'm like, oh man, that's really depressing.
Try when you work with people
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, see, yeah, I have to see them once, to be fair.
who
Uh,
are dates of birth, who are like kind of in the dates of birth when you were like meeting your husband.
yeah. Oh wow, yeah. Gosh, yeah. I'm not there yet, but no, none of them. I tried made a reference and they didn't know what it meant, and I was gobsmacked. I was like, how can you not know what this means? So yeah, that was not a nice moment.
So across all of your books,
Mm,
do you have a favorite character that you created?
mm. Gosh, that's an interesting one. I think one of my favorite characters to write was Adina. She actually could have done like when I was writing her story, I did get really into her kind of life, and I could have written a book just about her, to be honest. So I did really like her character a lot. And then I also Jack as well. I did love like he was my I was in his mindset for so much. And I feel like this book is like my where really feel like I got my confidence with this book. Like I've done it twice, I can do this, like, and I wasn't preoccupied by, oh, I can't write that, I can't write this. I just kind of let go and just went with it and felt like and trusted myself. So I feel like that made all of these characters in this book a lot more real to me, because I wasn't in my own head, I was in theirs, which was really nice and not thinking about anything else. So I think that's why these characters have kind of feel a lot more connection with them.
Yeah, Adina is such a good character.
Mm, definitely. Yeah, I loved writing that one. Definitely.
You ever tempted to pick someone like that who you've had in a book and sort of revisit them?
In my second book, Save Her. There's a character in there called Sophie, and I ended it a little bit on a cliffhanger because I would like to go back and explore the story, because her story, she was split with the other main character Flora, but I would love to go and do where she is now, and explore that definitely. And I have left the door open so that I can go and do that. So that is on my agenda of something that I would like to do.
So what are you doing for the launch of The Good Husband? You had a thing last night. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so I did a virtual interview yesterday, just because it was publication day yesterday. So I was interviewed by Honey and Stag Events, and the lovely Jackie interviewed me, and I did a reading from the book, and our hands were shaking so much I could barely read the words. So I did that for the people that couldn't come, because I'm doing a physical launch in Worcester. I did try and advertise it in lots of Facebook groups. Funny story, I found a group called What's On in Worcester. So I tried to advertise it in there, and loads of people were commenting saying, "This sounds so good, like well done." And I was like, "Oh, this group's amazing." And then somebody commented the next day saying, "You do realise this is a group for Worcester, Massachusetts?" Like, I was so upset because I thought all these people were going to come, and then that they're actually not even in the same country. So it was embarrassing and upsetting at the same time. But yeah, so I've been trying to advertise that. So I'm doing an in-person one on Saturday in Worcester. I've got some cupcakes with my book on. Because I just think I'm just really proud of this book. I feel like I've really found my stride and something I'm good at now, and feel like I can admit to people and do things like this that I'm a writer now. So I want to kind of celebrate that, and celebrate my friends and family, because not one of them told me I was crazy when I said I was going to publish a book. They've all been behind me, so I feel like they deserve a cake.
Do they all read your books?
Yes, they do. Yeah, my stepdad Norman, he's actually on chapter 3 of this book. He didn't read the other ones, but he didn't live down where I live. He lives next door to me now, so he's not as much escape from it. So he's actually read 3 chapters, and I don't think he's ever read a book in his life. So so yeah. So but most of my friends and family, yeah, they've read them all. My husband hasn't, because he's got severe dyslexia, so he struggles with reading, and he only reads sci-fi. So but I'm okay with that, because I put lots of things about him in my books, so it's fine if he doesn't want to read them.
I'm intrigued. Where does he appear in your books?
So he's in lots of the things he says and does. And like, so in the Puppet Master, the first date that my husband took me on was he took me up the Malvern Hills and said he packed a picnic, and it turned out just to be half a bag of minstrels, because he hadn't brought the right bag. And so he took me to fly a kite on the Malvern Hills, so that's in the Puppet Master. And then Save Her, the character Sam is a lot based on Jamie, and like, he wears my pink dressing gown, and some of the stuff he says to me is what word for word in the book, and things like that. So lots of things he does are peppered through my books.
My first date was to see Fight Club.
Oh, really? Was that good or bad?
Well, I'm still married to him.
Oh, well, they must have been good.
Worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just thought the kite flying was such a unique first date, so it was quite good. So yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, he doesn't embarrass easily, so I don't worry about putting anything in that he does, to be fair.
Is he kind of honoured to be immortalised in the book, or?
I don't know really. I think I'd have to ask him. I don't know if he actually. I think I've told him, but yeah, he's very laid back. He's very chilled, very laid back. So yeah, I'm sure he is deep down.
So, apart from that one, have you got any kind of other events coming up?
So yeah, so I got that on the Saturday, and then no, I think I that's enough. It's because obviously we had Harrogate, and then it's been publication week this week, so I am absolutely exhausted from being really excited and nervous and things. So I'm just gonna have a chilled out August, and then I'm going to go to Bloody Scotland. which will be nice.
I'm very jealous. I would love to go to bloody Scotland.
It's gonna be a journey, to be fair. I am a bit nervous about the journey because I did go for one day last year, but only because we were up there on holiday. So I sneaked off and left the husband and the dog on their own. But I'm gonna go on my own this time on the train because it was really good. And they're doing the torch procession this time, which sounds really good. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But yeah, I think I might be doing an Instagram live with another book blogger at some point, but that's not organised yet. But yeah, chilled after this. But I've got a deadline of October for the next one, so it's probably going to be kind of nose to the grindstone now as well.
Have you got any plans for more kind of psychological thrillers after the next one, or?
I don't know. So I'm contracted. So I'll be submitting this one, and then I've fulfilled my contract with Bloodhound. So I'm going to have a think about whether I want to keep going with psychological thrillers or try the uplift, because I do have some ideas for that. But then I also have ideas for the the thrillers. So my mentality at the moment is just get the one for October done, and then sit and have a think and have a bit of a type and see what comes naturally. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I will definitely be doing more psychological thrillers. I'm not going to step away from it. I just might try and mix it up a little bit and kind of do one and the other kind of thing like that.
Are you tempted to write a series, or?
I didn't even think I had the imagination to write one book. So I have so much admiration for anyone who can plan that far ahead. And I think for me, because of the way I approach my books as well, it would be quite difficult for me to do that. I think that I just left the door open with Save Her at the end. It wasn't something I wanted to do from the beginning. So yeah, I would love to, but I would have to hone my planning skills definitely to be able to kind of thread things through several books. So it would be way in the future, I think, because I'm going to keep learning because I'm so new to writing, and hopefully I'll improve with each book, and then maybe I might have the skill one day to do that. But I have so much admiration for people who can thread things through, and I don't have a very good memory either, so I think I'd find it really challenging. But yeah, maybe in the future I'll be up to the task.
What have you learned from kind of your first book to now?
Yeah,
Something.
in terms of writing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I've learned a lot in terms of kind of the importance of research and not just relying on what you know. And I think with this one, I think with the Puppet Master is just really basic, like only one to two characters, and it didn't have as much depth to it. It was a lot more raw. Whereas this one, I've learned how to be more complex and go kind of go into more depth and not be afraid to kind of hold back and explore things. So there's more characters in this than I've ever written, and just how to get into the mindset of other people. That's been the big thing, how to kind of write convincing characters. So I think that I really feel like this. One of my friends has read The Puppet Master and read this one, and she's like, it's like they're two different authors.
I mean, this one, they did feel like very real.
Thank you. I'm good at that. Yeah, honestly, I feel in some ways this is my debut, and I feel that's wrong though, because that's a disservice to the others. But I do feel like feel like I know what I'm doing now, whereas the other ones I didn't have that feeling. I was very, very plagued by self doubt and didn't have that same level of confidence.
You've obviously built up a readership though over
Definitely,
those books.
yeah.
You were doing something right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a disservice to the other two because they've done really well, and lots of people have messaged me to say that that like which bits they've enjoyed. And I saw some people at Harrogate that I went to a book club because I self-published The Puppet Master originally, and I got asked to go to a book club for some ladies in Cannock, and it was the first time I ever felt like an actual author. It was the most amazing moment for me, pinnacle moment for me, and it will stay with me forever. And I saw them at Harrogate for the first time in years, and they all said to me, still The Puppet Master is one of the best books they've ever read. So I must have done something right. So yeah, so it is a bit of a disservice really to the others, but I just didn't have that same level of confidence, and to kind of, I feel like I could do better if I had could do it again. But yeah.
A bit hearing from those people, because if they're in a book group, they're obviously reading quite a lot.
Yeah, yeah, they do. They sit and they compare what they've read, and they're all very prolific readers. So yeah, it meant a lot to me for them to say that. So yeah, it does mean a lot. So yeah, I should have probably taken more confidence from that. But yeah.
So I'll ask you some of our group favorite questions now.
Oh gosh.
I think I did pre-warn you about them, like before we went live. So hopefully nothing too tricky. One of the favorite ones is, have you acted out a scene?
Yes, yeah, several times. So, I more than with this book, I did actually tie up my husband to see if he could get out. I wanted to see, because one of the characters is running away and they're tied up, and I was like, and then they fall over, and I was like, could they actually get up from that? So I tied him up in the living room, and I was like, right, get up. And so I forced him. I did have to persuade him. He was like, I'm not doing that. And I was like, but my book will fail, and I'll be a failed writer, and it'll all be your fault if you don't just help me with this one thing. So I managed to convince him. And he did get up, which was annoying. So I had to rewrite the scene. And then yeah, and I also wanted to check that it really, how painful it was to kneel on rice, which is one of my scenes. So yeah, I've done a few different things just to check the. Normally, when I can't come up with different words to describe things, I'll try and see what it feels like.
Makes sense. Commitment,
Yeah.
definite commitment. You're still not beating, who did we have on who was saying about, oh, Jane Isaac,
Oh,
buried
that's one as well.
buried like a shoulder in concrete, like a
Oh,
lamb shoulder, to
oh,
see if, like, because apparently it doesn't decompose if it's buried in concrete. So she
wow.
buried it and then like dug it up after a year.
That is some commitment. That is amazing.
I know. I like the science of it as well. As a science teacher, I appreciate the experiment of it.
Love that. Yeah, definitely.
You've been asked how painful was it kneeling on rice?
Was not nice because your entire weight is leaning on it, and it's just they're immovable grains of hell. And it's just trying to bury into your kneecaps. It was not fun. I'm not, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. How long would you let it? Oh, he knows me, this person. Um,
A
yeah,
while?
until I needed him to do something for me, and then I would have probably let him out. So yeah, but a while, I would have tried to go as long as I could. That is a good idea for next time. Tie it tighter. That was a lovely question.
He's gonna be watching this and he's never gonna let you tie him up again.
Yeah, he hopefully not, but you never know. I'll persuade him. I'll persuade him. Yeah.
And then, so what are the other, I like to ask if people would make a graphic novel of one of their books.
Yeah, that would be interesting. As long as I don't have to do any of the kind of the illustration side of things, then because I can't draw at all. But yeah, no, I think that would be quite interesting.
You generally would work with an artist, I think.
Yeah, that's all right then. That's fine. Yeah, no good with anything. I'd love to be able to paint or draw or anything like that. My sister-in-law can do things like that. She's amazing. I'd love to be able to do things like that.
Yeah, my dad's a really good artist. It
Yeah.
doesn't,
It'd be so nice to just sit there and just kind of draw something you can see. I'd love to be able to do it.
it's not passed down in the genes.
No. Bless you. Uh, yeah,
Definitely didn't reach either of his children.
no, no,
But yeah, I'd like to be a good artist as well.
no, it would be good, definitely.
And then your memorable moments as an author so far?
Yeah, so obviously I've talked about one already. Doing that book club was amazing. And obviously when I got my publishing contract with Bloodhound, I was at Harrogate, and then I had to wait the whole weekend to actually sign the contract. So it didn't feel real until that happened. So that was amazing though, when a moment that, because I obviously, because it wasn't a traditional way of getting a publisher, and I never thought that I was going to get one. I was just kind of doing it. I didn't even think I was going to write a second one after that. Um, I didn't really know what I was doing, so it was the perfect moment for me. So that was amazing. Um, yeah, and then I got asked to sign some of my books at Harrogate as well, which was an amazing moment as well. So yeah, it's yeah, there's been some good times, and I did a launch party for the Puppet Master actually, and just with friends and family, and that was a really special moment as well to have them all there for me.
Did you get asked to sign books this year at Harrogate?
Yeah, yeah, those ladies that I met at Harrogate, they asked me to sign my new book for them, so that was really nice.
That's really good.
Yeah. I always find it really nerve-wracking. I get so panicked I'm gonna forget how to spell my own name. I'm hoping it'll get less nerve-wracking.
See, I've heard authors say they've worried about spelling, like, the people they're signing to's name wrong.
I don't know, I get really paranoid that I'm just gonna forget what letters are and what order they're supposed to go in, 'cause I just get so flustered, like, not used to doing it, that it's, yeah, 'cause I think I'm probably gonna have to sign some at the book launch. And the first book launch that I did, I was signing someone's book, but somebody was talking next to me and I wrote the wrong name, and I had to kind of pass it to my husband and be like, here, take this, hide it somewhere and get a different one and pretend nothing happened. So yeah, it's just I think it's just such a unbelievable thing that this people actually want me to sign something, that you get kind of flustered by that. And yes, but I haven't forgotten the spelling of my own name yet, but the worry is there. Mm,
A signed book is a genuinely,
mm.
really special thing.
Yeah, it is, yeah, 'cause I was love reading, and I was a properly fangirling at Harrogate this time, with because I got to see John Mars again, and I love his writing. He could write a blooming menu and I'd want to read it, like, so I was fangirling as well, so to have the signed book from him was really special, so that's why it's so unbelievable and bonkers to me that people want that from me. But special, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like a sign what's your most kind of precious signed book?
Oh gosh. Oh well, I went to on my second Harrogate. uh, Linwood Barclay was there, who was one of my favourite authors. I love. Have you read the one of my favourites of his was No Time for Goodbye? Have you read that? It's where a girl, she sneaks out and she's had a fight with her parents and she sneaks out even though they've told her not to. And then she sneaks back in. And then when she wakes up in the morning, her parents and her brother have vanished. And it's set 25 years later and they still don't know where they went. Nobody's ever found them. And so he's just such a phenomenal writer. So he was at Harrogate and I was just proper fangirling. And I told somebody that I was going to call, if I ever had children, that I was going to call them Linwood and Barclay. And somebody told Linwood Barclay that I said that. And so he then signed a book to me that says, Dear Abby, Linda and Sue are good names too. And then I've also got another one from him saying we'll always have Harrogate, because I met him afterwards saying, oh, I'm the crazy person that said this, and he signed the book to give to me, and then I went and met him, and so I've got one that says we'll always have Harrogate and one that says that. So those are my two favorites, definitely.
Nice. I've got a signed Charlene Harris book,
Oh, nice.
which was really special. I got signed at Harrogate.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Oh, I didn't realize was that this time.
No, it was a while ago. She came and I really love her like old like a cozy crime novels. So I've
Yeah,
got like an omnibus of some of those and that's what I've got signed.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've got a signed Joe Hill book as well, which is a bit of a special possession.
Yeah, they're like treasured possessions, aren't they?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have to put them all on a shelf, all the signed ones together?
Do you know I am the worst book owner in the world because I generally have piles everywhere of books, but my signed ones are on a shelf.
Yeah.
I
Dawn and
mean,
Morton.
no one remembers when Charlene Harris came to.
Why didn't I do that? Is she saying about the kids thing? About saying
No, I think that was I think that was something
that was in reference to. Ah.
So can people buy, because this is a thing our members ask a lot, can people buy signed copies of your books from you?
Yeah, definitely. If anybody wanted to, I've never even thought to offer it as a thing, but I would be more than happy to do that. Not a problem at all. I have an author page on Facebook, so if you just pop a message on there, I can do that. Not a problem.
When did you start setting up your author things? Because obviously you're quite good at the internet because you've had a blog and things like that.
Yeah, I did my author page. I know it's really bizarre. Like, I didn't intend to be a writer, but I did it really well. Like, I set up an author page from the minute I published the self-published the Puppet Master. So I've had that for a while. I've recently joined TikTok, which I love. I love TikTok so much, because you can just be a bit nuts on there and everyone loves it. My publication day TikTok has gone really well. I did this one where my mum throws books at me as I walk through a door in random places. She just keeps throwing books at my head and I have to try and catch them. And there's like one where I like come out the bathroom and she throws it at my head, and it's really funny because I wasn't expecting it. So you can just be a bit nuts on TikTok, which I love. So yeah, and I've got like the Twitter, and I don't really understand Twitter. I've got it, but I never not really I don't really use it that much. I'm more an Instagram and a TikToker.
I feel that way about Twitter, but I do not get TikTok.
Oh no? What is it that you is it
So Sam signed us up for it when she had COVID, and I signed up just to see. And I do have a TikTok account, but I think the videos play automatically, which irritates me because I'm epileptic and I don't like that.
yeah,
And then secondly, they're just no.
yeah.
I
I
put
think
about 2 minutes on it and was like, just no.
yeah, it's not obviously not for everyone, but I think it's really good for authors though to let people see you or be more you. Because in my opinion, I feel like Instagram you have to have a really fancy picture to get people's attention, and Twitter you have to have something controversial or gripping or wise to say. But with TikTok, you can just be you, and you don't even have to have your face on it as well. You can just tell people about your books, like just a simple page flip with some dialogue from your book and things work, and people like are quite supportive on there, and you get to see insights from authors like how they come up with things, tips that they've done when they're planning and things like that. So I think it's quite an untapped resource, and I think you can reach a wider audience as well, because I had a TikTok that went really well. It was really simple, basically just my laptop, and I wrote, for every 500 words I get one of these, and then I panned the camera to some Viennese whirls. And it went mental. Everybody really liked it. So I was able to see what audience I got, and most of them were in America. And then when I checked my American rankings, my book was going up in the rankings from that. So I think you can reach a wider audience that you wouldn't necessarily reach otherwise. That's just from my experience.
You've been asked on here, someone said that you'll have to train the rest of us to do it.
Happy to do that. More than happy to do that. I love making my books dance and all sorts. So yeah, just drop me a message on my author page on Facebook or something, or on my TikTok. I think it's just Abigail Osbourne Writes is my TikTok. But once you get the hang of it, it sounds really scary to do. Once you get the hang of it, it is really fun to make them.
I'm sticking at being too old and grumpy.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
We have 2 minutes left. So do you want to finish us off with a reminder of you and show us off the most recent book so everyone knows what they're going to go and buy?
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Abigail Osbourne. I write psychological thrillers, and this says The Good Husband backwards. And this came out on yesterday. And it is a psychological thriller about a man who loses his wife in a tragic accident on Black Friday, and he reconnects with his father, who is an extreme views on religion, and he convinces Jack that the reason his wife died was because the Lord wanted her to die so that he would have the strength to punish the greedy. And so he embarks on a mission that he thinks is the Lord's mission to rid the world of greed. And that is what this book is about. And you can buy it on Amazon for 99p on Kindle.
What a bargain.
Yes.
There you go. That's amazing. So
Thank
all that's left to say is thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, no, thank you for letting me ramble on.
You're amazing. You are welcome back anytime. In fact, Sam is at Manchester Library, but otherwise she would be fighting on here to get you next time.
Oh, that's very sweet to say. Oh, thank you.
There you go, you sold some books. So
Yeah,
thank you very much for joining us.
for having me. Have a great evening, everyone.